like that Baz Luhrmann song, Wear Sunscreen. If I have only one tip for the future, sunscreen would be it. Hello guys and dolls, and welcome back. I am super excited for today's video. I'm going to be sharing with you my 4 favorite sunscreens and how I prevent a sunburn. I've gotten so many questions, especially as I've been sharing my bikini photos and everything like that on Instagram, and everyone's like, well, what do you do to prevent sunburn? I actually had a really bad sunburn a couple of years ago due to trying out a new product and not really testing it out before I actually was in the sun for a number of hours, and it's a whole long story, but that was really awful for me. My skin was just completely damaged from that, and that's one of those things that I can't impress upon you guys enough, is that your number one line of defense in terms of preventing premature aging or just any kind of damage to the skin is to wear sunscreen. Like that Baz Luhrmann song, Wear Sunscreen. If I have only one tip for the future, sunscreen would be it. In this video, I'm going to cover a variety of topics, from the 4 sunscreens that I love to other things that I do to help protect myself when I'm in the sun, and then the removal of sunscreen, because sunscreen is meant to stay on your skin. Therefore, you need to do a little bit of work to get it all the way off. Otherwise, it can cause skin dryness or acne and things like that. So let's go ahead and dive in. Before we get to the individual sunscreens that I love, I want to first discuss with you the different types of sunscreen. So there are physical sunscreens and there are chemical sunscreens. Physical sunscreen is sometimes also called mineral sunscreen. And what it is it's either titanium dioxide or zinc oxide. They're 2 different ingredients. Titanium dioxide tends to have more of that whitish cast, that traditional like surfer nose with the, or like the lifeguard nose, you know what I'm talking about? And so these act as a physical barrier between you and the sun. They help to deflect the sun rays off of you so that they're never absorbed into your skin. These are really effective for preventing burn, but they don't look so great, especially on deeper skin tone, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a second. So chemical sunscreens work a little bit differently. They're made out of organic compounds that absorb into the skin, and then when the sun's rays are then absorbed into your skin, it turns into heat, which then escapes out of your skin. It's a little more technical than that will allow, but that's just kind of the basic framework. Physical or mineral sunscreens work to deflect. Chemical sunscreens interrupt the process of the sun actually absorbing into your cells by kind of chemically changing them. In my experience, I find that combining the 2 is the most effective. I use just one or just the other, I can have some issues. So most of my favorite sunscreens contain both. So my first favorite sunscreen is the CeraVe AM. If you've been watching my channel for any number of years, you already know that I love this. It's a great moisturizer. It has SPF 30 and it has a combination of chemical and physical sunscreen. This does not contain titanium dioxide, so it's great for people who have deeper skin because it doesn't leave that whitish cast. It absorbs into the skin beautifully, and it's also really great for people who don't like the feeling of like sunscreen on their face, you know, like a moisturizer. It just has a lotion-like texture. It's just a really great all-around moisturizer as well. It contains things like ceramides, niacinamide, and hyaluronic acid, so it's good for your skin in general. It's really easy to remove at the end of the day. It's not greasy. It is best for dry to normal skin. Very oily skin might want something that dries down a little more matte, which I'll talk about in just a second. And this is just generally a really good one. The only drawback for me is that this isn't waterproof. What I will do on like a general daily basis is I will use this both on my face and on my body, because I just like the feeling of it. I've tried a lot of other like body sunscreens. I just don't like them. They feel kind of goopy to me. And this one's sort of tried and true, and I haven't had any serious burns when I'm using it. However, if I'm going to be out in the sun, I'm likely to be sweating or swimming, and therefore this isn't a great one because it's not waterproof. So keep that in mind. You'll want to use a waterproof one if you're going to be doing any kind of sweating, sports, swimming, whatever. The next sunscreen that I want to share with you today is from First Aid Beauty. This is one of my favorite skincare brands, hands down. It's a really good like mid-range one where it's not super inexpensive, but it's a lot cheaper than a lot of what else is out there. This is called the Ultra Repair Pure Mineral Sunscreen Moisturizer Broad Spectrum SPF 40. This is 6% titanium dioxide and 4.6% zinc oxide. So it does have both in there. This is a physical sunblock, so this is not going to contain any of the chemical ingredients. So if you are sensitive to a lot, because I know a lot of people have irritation issues with the chemical sunscreen, this is a great one to try. This one's really great for people who have acne prone skin, and it's really great for oily skin because this does have a little bit more of like a drier kind of finish to it. It's not quite like mattified, but it's a lot closer than a lot of other sunscreens. This one will last through a little bit of sweating and swimming, about 40 minutes. This is not one that I would recommend using all over your body, but I do really like using this on the face because of the way that it dries down. It feels very comfortable, it doesn't move, and I try to avoid getting anything like above my neck wet when I'm swimming because I don't want to get my hair wet because then my hair color dies and it's so sad and then I have to have a hair color funeral. I do like this one for face and around my ears and anywhere where I don't want to wear a really super hardcore sunscreen. I will typically even apply something over this as kind of the day goes on depending on how long I'm outside, but this is a great one to use. It has that nice dry feeling. This does have a whitish cast, but it does rub in. Like as you rub it in, it starts to become clear. It does leave a very slight whitish cast due to that titanium dioxide. It does work excellently as a primer specifically for powder foundation. It looks awesome. So this is definitely, you can see I've used quite a bit of it. I really, really like this product and I have repurchased it several times. So the next sunscreen that I'm going to share with you guys is one that's a bit of a cult classic. This is the, I believe it's Shiseido is how you say, but it might be Shiseido. The Ultimate Sun Protection Lotion SPF 50. This has something called wet force technology, which we'll talk about in just a second. And this is water resistant up to 80 minutes. So this is when I'm going to be swimming, this is the sunscreen that I put on because it's tried, it's true. I've never got a sunburn when I was wearing this. This particular bottle is for both face and body. They do sell one that comes in a squeeze tube that's more just for body, or maybe that one's just for face. I don't remember. Both chemical and physical sunscreen. So you're really covering all of your bases, and it has a lot of zinc oxide. So it has two different types of chemical sunscreen. It has oxytinoate and octocrylene. Sure. It has 1.4% titanium dioxide and it has 16.4% zinc oxide. Now, I had mentioned that zinc oxide is really good for acne prone skin. So this is the one that I would definitely recommend if you have oily skin or if your skin is prone to acne, because it will actually help to battle your acne while it's protecting you from the sun. This has an extremely white cast. In fact, on darker skins, it begins to look purple, which is something that can happen with physical sunblocks and darker skin. So when my husband uses this, it's so funny because he's already he has kind of a farmer's tan. So around his neck and on his forearms, it's like bright purple. It is so funny. Even on my super pale skin, you can see like a tiny bit of a purple cast to it. It's just the sunscreen doing its job, so I'm not too mad about it, but it's definitely not elegant, not something you'd want to wear, like for instance at an outdoor wedding. You'd want to find something else that's going to absorb a little differently into your skin. But this has something called wet force technology that I talked about, and so when you get in the water or when you sweat, it's going to activate the barrier that's actually going to make it work better. It helps to, I don't know exactly how it works, but I've seen it work because when my husband gets in the water, his arms turn like a very pale purple because it's sort of like a whitish look from the sunscreen, but it doesn't move around. That's the cool thing. It actually stays in place. It's got something in it that just hugs your skin. This is not greasy. It's very dry feeling. It's just a really great sunscreen that I find to be very reliable, that hugs the skin, that doesn't come off, that doesn't wipe off, that doesn't smear off. Last thing I want to share with you is a sunscreen spray. And I know a lot of people have gotten into these in the last few years. A lot of them are self-propelled and they kind of give your skin like this really shiny, greasy look. And I just always feel really gross when I use those. That reminds me a lot of using bug spray. I'm not really into it. I've tried a lot of them. I haven't been into them. And one of my biggest issues with them too is that because it's like an aerated spray, it kind of goes everywhere and inevitably somebody's going to breathe in sunscreen, and it's not that great, especially if anyone in your group has asthma or it's just, and I've gotten sunburns when using those, so I don't really trust them that much, to be honest with you. I have found a spray on sunscreen that I love, and that is the Dr. Dennis Gross Sheer Mineral Sun Spray. Broad Spectrum SPF 50. This is a fantastic spray-on sunscreen. It is not self-propelled. It does have a pump bottle, and this is chock full of vitamins. In fact, the #1 ingredient in this is ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C. It also has green tea in it, resveratrol, and coenzyme Q10. So basically, it's like a toner for your skin that, oops, has sunscreen in it. A lot of sunscreen. This is titanium dioxide, and you get 12% titanium dioxide. So this is definitely a lot of coverage. You can apply this sheerly by just kind of working a little bit further back. When I'm applying this to places like my legs, which by the way, this is my favorite sunscreen for my legs, I spray it really, really close, and then you get like little blurbs of it, and then rub the little blurbs in. I really love this one, especially for touch-ups on the face and on my legs. It's my 2 favorite places to put this, or just kind of on my back generally, and then just like try to rub it in myself. It doesn't always work if someone's not there to help me. But usually I do have a buddy or something who's willing to blend in my sunscreen for me. A couple of other things that I do to prevent sunburn would be to avoid my skin exposure to sun between the hours of 10 and 2. Typically, I will walk my dog at like 6:45, 7 a.m. I'll take him out again around 10 o'clock, and then I won't take him out again until after 3 to sort of avoid those peak hours. That's just kind of what I do on the daily. If I'm going to be out in the sun, if I'm like out with a group or something, I make sure that I always wear a hat. It's essential to, prevent yourself from sunburning on your face. Like things like your nose and your ears and your lips even are extremely susceptible to sun damage. Oh, and I also wear a lip balm that has sunscreen, the Fresh SPF 15. That's a really great lip balm because it smells like heaven, and hey, it has sunscreen in it, so bonus. But I will always wear a hat. This one is one I got at Hearst Castle, but you can find hats like this online. It's lasted and held up really well. It also has a like sweatband that's removable that you can wash, which is really cool. Actually, I need to remove it and wash it right now. But it's really tightly woven. You really can't see through this. I have quite a few other straw hats that are quite see-through, so I don't use those as much for sun protection, more so for style. It is also adjustable. So I will have a link in the description bar down below to this hat. It's really, really quite cute and a little vintage looking as well. The other thing that I do is I keep wraps with me. Even when it's really hot outside, if you're going to be out in the sun and your skin's exposed, it's always a good idea to have something like this on hand. I got this in my FabFitFun box. You can find any kind of thin sheer scarf. I really like this one in particular because it becomes a like skin wrap like this. So it's got like a lot of surface area covered, but it like squinches down really, really small. Like, let me show you. Shove it in your bag. It doesn't take up a lot of room. And so something like this is really great to have on hand. You just cover up when the sun's rays are a little harsh if you can't reapply right at that moment for any reason. So the final thing I want to talk to you guys about is removal. There's 2 different types of removal I want to talk about, and the first one is when you are applying it. Like, let's say you're at the beach, you're at a sporting event, or you're wherever, and you need to reapply your sunscreen. And now you've got sunscreen all over your hands, and you might not be in a place where you can wash your hands. So I always keep wet wipes on hand. These are invaluable tools. You need them. I got these ones at Daiso for $1.50 for a 2-pack. If you haven't already checked out my Daiso haul, I will have that linked in the description bar down below. These are awesome. I recently acquired them and I love them. They also have makeup wipes, which are awesome for keeping in your car or in your bag or something, because those ones actually are meant to remove makeup, so they'll be a little bit more aggressive with getting all of the sunscreen off. And then when you get home, you want to wash it all off. You don't want to go to bed with sunscreen on because it's a barrier on your skin, and so your skin can't breathe quite the same way, and it can cause all kinds of problems. It can actually cause a lot of dryness because some of these ingredients are mineral based and they're just really going to draw moisture from your skin. So I do a combination of things. The first is that I use the L'Occitane shower oil. I have not yet found a less expensive dupe than this, but I did discover that they have like a refill bag. So it's this like really big bag of the shower oil that you use to refill this about 2 to 3 times. So that's what I like to use. You can also use olive oil or coconut oil or whatever floats your boat. In fact, coconut oil would be a really great removal method. I just don't currently have any. And then the other thing that I use is the Hemp's Original Sugar Scrub. Any kind of sugar scrub is really going to help to get any of those stubborn places, especially places like the feet. For some reason, my sunscreen really likes to stick to the top of my feet, so doing the scrub really just kind of gets it off. And I think that's pretty much it. Just kind of avoiding avoiding direct sunlight when you can. When we go to the beach, we have a big like shade canopy, which really helps us sort of escape the sun, gives us some time to do that reapplication and things like that. Obviously, that's not always possible, but try to think ahead and think of ways to protect yourself. And that's pretty much it. I hope that this has been helpful for some of you who had questions about sunscreen. I know this video is probably going to be fairly long. Sunscreen is a medical topic, really. It's not just, you know, do I like this lotion? Ooh, one other thing, deeply hydrate your skin. It's so important to hydrate after using all those sunscreen products. You can use whatever moisturizer you want. I'm not saying that you have to use this one that I'm going to talk about, but oh my god, I love it so much. I have to share it with you guys. This one arrived in my PR box, so this is definitely something that was sent to me, but I love it genuinely. I wouldn't talk about it if I didn't really love it. This is from Pistache Skincare. This is a pistachio oil body butter, and I'd never seen anything like this before. I've never seen pistachio scented skincare products, and now I'm like, why is this not already a thing? It smells so good. It smells like a cannoli. It's so delicious and hydrating and not greasy. And my husband loves the way this smells. Like immediately after I put it on, he was just like all over me. It smells so good, and I really like the feeling of it. It's not greasy, and it's really deeply hydrating without feeling funky or anything like that. Little luxury item to kind of treat my skin after it has been dried out from the sun and the water and the sunscreen, and oh my god. So that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you'd like to see more of my skincare videos, I will have a link to my Skincare Sunday playlist in the description box down below. Let me know what you'd like to see on Skincare Sunday next. I know I don't do them every month anymore. I just kind of do them sporadically as they come to me, but I am always looking for suggestions on what to do for this series, and I will see you guys in my next video. Remember to be vintage or tacky, just be your own kind of beautiful. See you, bye.